Hello everyone, my name is Alberto and welcome back to my channel. So in this video I wanted to show you quickly how to wet felt. In this case we're gonna start with the preparation of the table. I have some towels and some plastic sheet underneath just to protect the table, and then some bubble wrap, and that will cause the friction in order to felt. Then we are gonna need a hat mold. This is for a baseball cap, but they have all sort of different ones online for wide brimmed hats and sort of like more Western style hats. Then you are going to need some wool, roving. This is merino wool. It's very shiny and nice. It's a bit more difficult to felt, but it's great quality. Random soap bar. This looks a bit gross because it has wool all over it, and a bottle with very warm water and dish soap. To felt, you're gonna start taking apart the wool roving, which is very simple to do, just pulling it because all the fibers go in the same direction, and you're gonna start laying it down again in the same direction, forming the shape you want to obtain. In my case, I'm doing sort of an oblong, oval-ish shape. And first of all, you want to lay all the fibers in the same direction and then do some other layers going in different directions. Usually you would do horizontal or vertical, and then you could do the diagonals. The only important thing is that you always change the direction, because the wool felts by interlocking between the different layers of fibers, and if they all were in the same direction it would split and sort of separate. So you want to make them go in all sort of different directions to get the best result. And this you can do how many times you want. Usually I do about 4 to 5 layers, but you could do more if you wanted a thicker felt. It also sort of depends on the fiber that you're using and the results you want, because you could do all sort of like color gradients and patterns. But when you get this little fluffy pillow, what then you're gonna start to do is wet it with the soapy water and make sure that all the water goes between all the different layers, because wool is naturally water repellent, so you want to make sure it's very soaked. And that I will do also by flipping it and again making it sure it's very soaked. Then you can start rubbing it with the soap bar, and that will help in felting. You will also see that I turn all those sort of wispy ends in to get a more refined edge. You don't need to do that, that's sort of an extra thing, but it's nice then to have like a nice clean border to work with. This is all sped up obviously, but it takes a long time. You are going to massage the felt for a very long, roll it with the bubble wrap, you can roll it with the towel, and this will be done several times in different directions to make sure that it's properly felted. When that is done, I sort of try to start molding it on top of the hat mold, which you don't really need to do in this case because it's a baseball hat. But it's actually pretty useful if you start from a flat sheet of felt for a bigger hat with where there's more diversity between the large brim and the dome of the hat. And this is just to stretch the felt over it so it starts getting that dome shape and it's easier to work with after. You could also let it dry with the soap on the shape to get the shape sort of baked in, but I don't really like to do that. So after it's stretched nicely, what I do is go and rinse both the mold and the felt several times with both very hot and very cold water, which again encourages the wool to felt. And then you're left with this new piece of felt, and again you're gonna start stretching it on the mold another time. This time though, you will use steam to help. Steam helps the wool felt, again another encouragement, and you can see how again over several times, this is a very long process, but you can stretch the felt and give it the shape you want and start ironing out all the kinks and the creases. In here you can see a little bit of the difference between one side and the other. And then when it's done, what I do is I start layering shellac. Shellac is a resiny substance from the spit of a bug, and this is diluted in isopropyl alcohol, and I spray it on. You could paint it, but I feel like it leaves more of a residue. So I spray it all over for, again, several layers, both outside and inside, and that gives that sort of traditional cardboardy feel to the felt hat. It's a bit gummy, and it helps it keep its shape and dry solid. So that would be again done for several layers, sort of fixed with some steam at first and then allowed to dry between all the different layers, then tied with a band in order to keep the shape clean and let it dry overnight. In this case I also tried some needle felting on the brim. I trimmed the excess and turned it inside to then sort of needle felting in place. The needles have these sort of barbed edges that help again felting the wool, and doing that it sort of keep the edge in, and it basically fuses all the felt together into one single fabric, and it gives a more rounded edge. This would do on both sides. You could either do that or trim it to have a more sharper, clean edge. I just wanted to try this because I've never done it before. And there's all sorts of different needles for needle felting for larger and smaller areas. When all of that is done, what I did is I started attaching on the inside this bias tape made of pleather, because I thought it would give a nice touch, and then I just sort of turned it around and top stitched it, and I used that as my finish. So this is the final result. I hope you guys liked it and you find it interesting and entertaining. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Leave any questions you want in the comments and I will reply, and I'll see you next time. Bye!